All right, guys, coming up to you today, and we're going to discuss just simple hooks and what you need to be looking for in a hook and why. I'll try to explain this best I can. I'm still a novice, but anyway, hang on, y'all. Okay, guys, when I'm out catfishing, I usually use three hooks: a kill hook, a J hook, offset a little bit, and what everybody goes to, a circle hook. And I'll explain why I use these hooks and what you need to look for in a hook. Okay, we'll start with the circle hook. Okay, we start here with the eyelet. Then you have the shank. Then you have the pocket. Then you have the barb. See if I can get that focus in a little bit better. Anyway, the barb. And then you have the tip. This is the pocket. Okay, what I typically look for in a catfish hook is a good sharp point that will not roll over. I look for in the eyelet, I look for an eyelet that's truly turned back to the shank. If you look, you will see there's no gap between there. A lot of hooks you will buy, you'll see the edge of the hook or the edge of the shank that's rolled around. You'll see an edge that'll stick out where it's not rolled all the way completely 100% true. And that'll cost you fish because when you put pressure on this, it will actually like almost cut the line because the pressure is put on it, especially with a snail hook or whatever. Something that's going to be on the shank. Snail hook is a prime example because snail hook is primarily tied to the shank. That's what it's a snail. Okay. What I also look for in a quality fishing hook is gap. Gap is between the point and the shank. You want a good gap. See, I'm putting two fingers in there. Let me hold that a little bit better. I'm putting two fingers in there. You see that gap? My fingers are separated. Okay, especially in a circle hook. When a catfish grabs it, these hooks are designed so when a catfish grabs it, he's got to run against it. See how it just slid out of my hand? But if I put resistance on it, it wraps around and you see it'll hook my finger. So you want a good gap to be able to get, especially the big catfish. You want something that will grab and easily go into his cheek without any resistance. A lot of hooks out there, you'll see the tip that'll roll around. The gap is not very far. That's good for some people. For me, I want as much meat that'll slide through there with the least resistance that I can get. Then you want a good barb. Okay, the barb right here, you want a good barb, something that it's a meat grabber. Something even if you don't hook him that great or you don't penetrate all that deep, you want something that will not back out with ease. You want something that's going to grab it and hold. You have to actually get pliers or struggle with your hands to get it out. A circle hook. And all these principles work the same. Like I said, this is designed for when the fish puts resistance on the line, it will actually set itself with pressure you cranking down on it. Everybody knows what a takedown is. When the rod bows over and he's pulling on it, he's putting pressure on it. And it will set itself. Okay, we're going to move on to number two. A J hook. And this J hook right here, same. See the eyelet? It's rolled over 100% true. If I hold this hook straight, you'll see it's offset. Same thing with the circle hook. I want that. I want an offset hook with a superior point, a great barb, and a good gap. See, same thing here. This is a 9/0 hook. Almost, I got two fingers in there. It's not quite as wide as a circle hook, but there's two fingers. That's good chunk. Imagine your cheek. Same thing as a catfish. How much meat will get in there? Okay, these will set their self, or you can crank down on them and set them with your rod, manually by yourself. And a stream or a good representation of this would be everybody's been on the river. The catfish picks up the line and is running to you. Okay, you can crank down your line, pull up the slack, and you wrench that rod back and just bury this as deep as you can get him. Also, a great hook. The offset, see how it's a little funky looking? An offset. And my favorite, and this is dual action, a Kell hook. Same thing, a good gap. And see how the gap's a little different on this. It's designed a little different for reasons. It's still plenty of room to grab plenty of that cheek meat that I was telling you about, but you can also set these hooks manually instead of relying on the fish to pull on it and you crank down on him. It'll work perfect just like a circle hook, or you can crank down on him and wrench that rod back and hang it in his face. Okay, we're going to move on to the next one. Another thing that I'll look for in a hook is tensile strength. I want a hook that will flex. It might sound crazy, but with the good barb and the flex of a hook, when say your drag sticks a little bit at the heat of the moment next to the boat when you're getting ready to land this thing, at the heat of the moment, this tip will flex to a certain point. You know, no hook is flawless, but to a certain point, this tip will flex from the pocket. It will flex up some, but it will return back to the original shape. Okay, and the reason why I'm saying this is, if you've got that good, nice barb in there, say your drag sticks right next to the boat, right in the moment, right before you're netting this fish, and he goes to digging as hard as he can get. Maybe he was green, you pulled him up. Whatever the reason, you know how fishing goes. Last minute things, everything else that's included with it. So, a lot of hooks out there. I'm not naming any brands. I'm not bashing any hooks because they all will catch fish. They all will catch fish. But if you got a hook that will flex and come back to a certain measure, I mean, everything's going to bend or break to a point. I want a hook that will flex and come back to its original form, or bend after a certain amount of pressure, or bend, but I do not want it to snap. Because once it snaps, ball game's over with, the fish is gone. But if it's bent a little bit and that barb is still hanging in there, you still have a chance. Okay, and the reason why I'm covering these topics is because hooks are the main ingredient to fishing. Everybody goes out and they spend tons and tons of dollars, rods, reels, the top of the line brand of line, top of the line rods and reels. So if you're spending all that money on the top of the line stuff, why don't people research and do hooks that are quality? Look into your hooks, because ultimately, without the hook, I don't care how much, if you got a $5 million rod, at the end of the day, the hook is what matters. And the hook is what's going to help you land the fish. And the hook is the very connection to your line and to all the big daddy expensive stuff you bought into your rod and reel setup. So hopefully this helps you guys. And until next time, tight lines and always hook 'em deep.